LGBT stands for
to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters.
I like that. It's never, let me tell you something. Okay. First of all, most agents, most FBI people, most prosecutors, okay, most judges, due to the Federalist Society and Republican court stacking, are almost always right-wing, okay? Even if they are supposedly liberal, they're the type of liberal that, loves Ronald Reagan. And most of the time they voted for Republican candidates. They voted for Republican presidents. Now, this is a constant, okay? This is a consistent concept throughout time. And yet, Republicans will always act like voted Republican your whole life, okay? It doesn't matter. If you are voting Republican your whole life, but also have this, moral compass or a profound sense of justice or whatever, because a lot of these dudes do care. They are institutionalists, unless they are Supreme Court justices, in which case they do not care for the most part. A lot of these people do care about following the letter of the law, right? To a certain degree. If they prosecute a Republican candidate or Republican president or anything like that, then all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't care if you care about the rule of law. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're no longer a Republican. You're a libtard. We need a guy who won't do that. That's the point. Make no mistake, okay? That's it. In this situation, I'm happy with the special prosecutor. It's fine. But also, it's only being done to shut Republicans the fuck up, who will not shut up regardless. You know what I mean? I have no issues with avoiding improprieties or even looking like you are one-sided on the circumstance, especially because it is the president's son, right? But it's just hilarious to me that part of the reason why this special counsel is being appointed, and it's one that the Republicans will be, I guess, quote unquote, comfortable with, is so that the Republicans will shut the fuck up and be like, okay, it's fine. We got real justice could be potentially served here. But that's never going to happen. They probably are bitching about the special counsel too. There it is. Okay, there you go. Smith, I think that this should be concerning to all Americans. This is an attempt to whitewash the Biden family corruption. I'm very fearful that appointing the special counsel is just an attempt to stonewall Congress's investigation of the Biden family.
What's your reaction to it? And jumping on the breaking news with us. First, what is your reaction to it?
It's great to be with you, Sandra. I think that this should be concerning to all Americans, that this is an attempt to whitewash the Biden family corruption. I mean, Mr. Weiss is the single architect over that sweetheart plea agreement deal that the judge in Delaware threw out just a few weeks ago as saying it was awful and unfair. There were provisions within that sweetheart plea deal that granted complete immunity to Hunter Biden for these crimes and future crimes. And she even stated that she's never seen anything like that before. And who was the architect of that? Now the person who, Garland, who President Biden's Justice Department just appointed to be special counsel.
Hell yeah.
I am very fearful that appointing the special counsel is just an attempt to stonewall.
The right acts like Hunter Biden's case will cause Joe to resign or get impeached. Yeah, I don't understand. Even if Hunter Biden goes to jail, right? Even if he goes to jail, who gives a shit? The fuck? This case doesn't have anything to do, his separate case, okay? His separate case involving his lying on a form to purchase a weapon while he was still and also having a gun when he was clearly under the influence. All of these things that Republicans normally think is a God-given right for every red-blooded American patriot, by the way, and then some. they're now super mad about. Okay, they're like, wait a minute, he did tax evasion and also had a gun when he shouldn't. Hello, throw the book at him. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, you want to throw this guy in jail over the two things that you love doing the most, okay, which is waving a weapon around under the influence and also being allowed to have a gun when you shouldn't have a gun is like a fundamental plank in the conservative mindset, okay? Tax evasion on top of that is like you just created the conservative starter pack. Just put a little bit of failing to pay child support and domestic abuse on there, and Hunter Biden is like the greatest hog of all time, right? I mean, straight up, this is like the conservative bingo. Drunk driving, having a gun when you're not supposed to, tax evasion, beating your fucking wife, and not paying child support is the 5 pillars of conservatism in the United States of America. Okay? It's perfect. Like, is he running for office in Florida? Because I feel like you need to do those as a check mark. Those are like your objectives when you start in the tutorial mission. As a Republican who wants to become a congressperson in the state of Florida, that's what you got to do. Well, Florida's a little bit different. You also have to engage in a little bit of pedophilia. And as far as we understand, conservatives claim Hunter has done that, but there's no evidence for that whatsoever. He's only had sex with the most 35-year-old looking prostitutes I've ever seen. But you made it sound like he beat his wife. Oh, yeah, he did not. He did not. As far as I know, he has not engaged in domestic abuse. Maybe that's the reason why conservatives don't see him as one of their own. Okay? So all of this stuff is just like things that they're freaking out about, but none of this actually touches Joe Biden. What they want to do is make it seem like him and Joe Biden were doing dealings together, side by side, in Burisma, in Ukraine, in China. That's what they want to make it seem like, but they don't have enough evidence to make it seem like that. So now they're just pumping this side of the equation. Don't forget he fucked his brother's widow. Okay, to be fair, that is like Christ-like. That is the most Christ-like thing you can do. That's straight up in the Bible, dog. Hayır olması lazım. Bak boku yedik. Bir tane daha ederim o zaman. Olması lazım. Yok mu? Buldun mu? Doesn't the Bible mandate it? Yeah, that is the most biblical thing you can do.
Congress's investigation of the Biden family.
And jumping on the breaking news.
So, do I think Hunter Biden should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Fox News guy said plea included all future crimes. They really think their audience is stupid. No, you can get a plea bargain like that. You know who else got a plea bargain like that? If there's like additional investigations being conducted. That is it's like a double jeopardy extension. I guess it goes beyond a double jeopardy, but yeah, you can try and cut a plea bargain deal like that. It's given to corrupt nepo babies usually. But that, of course, does not imply that there is like additional misdeeds that are occurring that they are trying to get away with. But ultimately, I don't mind, I don't mind this prosecution. I don't mind him getting like I don't mind him getting actually clapped up for doing things that he's not supposed to do. I hope that we extend this level of care and consideration to all the children of Washington, D.C. vampires. But none of this touches Joe Biden. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, Republicans don't really care about Hunter Biden doing all this stuff. They just want to attack Joe Biden, right? And they want to utilize this as a line of attack against Joe Biden. They want to make it seem like, well, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden actually were, cooking this up together. He's the big guy, right? There was kickbacks happening, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, as far as we've seen, there has been no evidence of that whatsoever. And the Republicans overall have done something that you normally wouldn't do if you had good evidence. Think about it this way. The UAP stuff, right? They didn't have like airtight evidence, but they had a qualified witness who was, at least in my opinion, willing to lie in front of Congress. So they televised that. They televised that congressional hearing. So why are they cooking up closed-door meetings on this Hunter Biden situation? Because if you think they had some real juice that could genuinely hurt Joe Biden, if they had real evidence that Joe Biden was getting kickbacks from Hunter Biden, blah, 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 they would televise the fuck out of it. They wouldn't hold closed-door hearings. They wouldn't try to massage the narrative. They wouldn't try to, feed misinformation to the Fox News crowd. They would just straight up let you see it. They would rip into Hunter Biden. They would rip into the other witnesses. They would cross-examine them openly in public in broad daylight. That's great clippage. That's really good for all of the Republicans in that committee. That's really good stuff overall, right? Like, that's great. You want to look like you're tough on the Biden crime family, right? You want the people to know. Now, the real reason why they're doing the closed door stuff, the real reason why they're doing those meetings and those hearings behind closed doors, so they can kind of lie about it, massage the truth a little bit, release a narrative that is better. But of course, when you do that, it's not as exciting. So you're not going to be able to legitimately get people excited and care about it. Do you see what I mean? Let's hear what Nikki Haley has to say about the Hunter Biden situation.
Chuck Grassley there at the state fair.
I personally think this is a losing issue for them too, to constantly talk about Hunter Biden. I think it's a losing issue. It's not entertaining enough. Every time they talk about Hunter Biden, he looks cool for the most part. And ultimately, you could just say, yeah, he's a fuck up. He's a fail son. But what does this have to do with Joe Biden? Why are you using so much government resources to prosecute, investigate, and jail one fucking nepotism recipient, failed child who, did crack and did everything, basically, right? But ultimately, you're talking about a person, like a child that is the son of a president, but not the president himself. And also, a lot of people have fuck ups in their families. Maybe not fuck ups to that degree, or maybe not fuck ups with any kind of capability of trafficking in the name of their laundering their family name to get significant benefits, like being able to go and work at Burisma for a 6-figure salary with no actual business interest or no actual knowledge in the field of energy. But it doesn't matter, Don't the optics of having closed-door meetings also benefit the conspiracy theories that Biden won't allow the people to see the meetings? No, absolutely not. It's Republican run. They're the ones who are making it closed-door meetings. Are you crazy? Yeah. Anyway.
Reacting to the news, how are you responding?
I don't trust it. I don't think the American people trust it. I don't think that the American people trust the Department of Justice or anything this is going to do. I think that this was meant to be a distraction. It's not a distraction. I think the Bidens are on a sinking ship, and I think this is our opportunity to make sure not only that we get a new president in the White House, but that we go and we clean house in the Department of Justice while we're at it.
Pence, Chuck Grassley there at the State Fair, reacting to the news. How are you responding?
That's great. It's not a distraction, I swear. I think it all seems a bit conspiracy theory insanity to the normals. Well, I would say this much. I think like the average conservative, because they watch so much Fox News, probably has like an opinion on this that's not favorable, understandably. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up what Biden has done. It seems like there's a lot of nepotism going on, which is true. That part is real. That part is absolutely 100% true. Hunter Biden had no business getting money from Chinese emissaries. Hunter Biden had no business getting a job at Burisma. He got all of that shit because his last name is Biden and his daddy was vice president at the time. Okay? 100%. Now, that in and of itself, unfortunately, is not illegal. Okay? I wish for a world where that would be illegal. You know what I mean? No Jared Kushner in the White House. No Donald Trump Jr. You know what I mean? Like all of the nepotism children would go away, except, that's like 98% of young DC weirdos is like, related to in some way, shape, or form to another senator or to another congressperson. So that's not happening anytime soon. Wait, is politics all about reacting to other people? Isn't this a big issue? What about the IP? How are you reacting? How are you reacting to this? What? What's happening? What is happening today? Anyway, so overall, good that they have a special counsel appointed here to combat any kind of like narrative that there is some serious, any kind of narrative that there's some serious corruption going on. You know what I mean?
I am confident that Mr. Weiss will carry out his responsibility in an even-handed and urgent manner, and in accordance with the highest traditions.
Yeah, bro said you're stealing from Merrick Garland. How is that allowed? That's the Department of Justice, my dude. Like,
of this department. Thank you.
If you as Attorney Weiss had the authorities he needed.
The Attorney General Merrick Garland appointing David Weiss, who has been overseeing this investigation, as a special counsel. So as Garland said, that will allow David Weiss.
I don't know. Like, who do they want? Like, who do they want? The Republicans, I mean. Like, who would they be comfortable with if they were the ones if Donald J. Trump should be the special counsel appointed to this? Like, is that... We should have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has no legal education whatsoever, to be the special counsel appointed here so that she can kill him with a Beretta 50 cal, and that would be justice. And then she also shoots through him. She like lines up a Beretta 50 cal and shoots through both Hunter and Joe Biden as punishment. Only then would we be happy, and that is how justice would be served. To be fair, if they put Marjorie Taylor Greene on that special counsel, she would be fucking Hunter Biden so quick, everyone's heads would spin. Let's be real. She loves it, okay? She is 100%. She loves doing polyamorous shit. They be having the grossest tantric sex. They both be doing crack. Anyway, let's continue.
The ability to investigate this independently It will allow him to investigate anywhere he needs to. There had been questions about venue in this case because he is the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, and some of the conduct or alleged conduct had taken place in other jurisdictions. It's also a bit of a reversal because both Garland and David Weiss had previously said he didn't ask for special counsel status and all the authority that he needed in this case. But now, according to Garland, Weiss asked for that status on Tuesday, and he was granted that. So, as Garland said, it will also mean that David Weiss will be providing a report with any prosecution decisions or declinations at the end of this. And this is something that the House Republicans had been raising as a question here because there were IRS whistleblowers who'd come forward saying that some of their investigative efforts were stymied during this multi-year investigation. So it is something that House Republicans have been scrutinizing, and appointing a special counsel could alleviate some of that scrutiny, but it raises a lot of questions about just what else they might be investigating. I mean, I noted that Garland had said that they will be able to investigate criminal conduct by Hunter Biden, among others. That is a question here of who else they might be looking into. And remember, this investigation had spanned some 5 years and had looked at broad conduct, including foreign lobbying, including potential money laundering, and it had narrowed into the guilty plea that they had reached last month that fell apart in the court hearing. And just now, Dana, we're getting word, I'm looking at a court filing where prosecutors asked the judge to vacate her order asking them to come back and work out their guilty plea because, as they write, this is the prosecutors writing in this motion to the judge, that, you know, that order was set in place as they were continuing to work toward a guilty plea. They write, but that is no longer the case. Following additional negotiations after the hearing held on July 26, 2023, the parties are at an impasse and are not in agreement on either a plea agreement or a diversion agreement. Therefore, the government believes the court's briefing order should be vacated. So, you know, that shows us that this deal that they were working toward on tax misdemeanor charges and a diversion on a gun possession is now being torn up. And this investigation is now continuing with the appointment of a special counsel who has broad powers, Dana.
And that really is the key here. That was the turning point, Kara. What happened in that courtroom, that federal courtroom in Delaware, when the Hunter Biden legal team thought they were walking in with Hunter Biden. David Weiss and his team walked in. They had planned to just kind of get a stamp on this plea deal for a couple of misdemeanors and a tax charge that would be diverted down the road. And then it all blew up and it all fell apart for various.
The special counsel news overshadows yesterday's news about the whistleblower saying exactly what Lev Parnas has been saying about Hunter Biden being targeted by Burisma and drugged by Giuliani's Russian goons. Does nobody think that's crazy? That the Fox News pundit Dr. Keith Ablow had one of Hunter Biden's laptops? I mean, it is partially the reason why it hasn't taken a lot of, it hasn't really been like that good of a rallying cry for people. Like, there's not enough momentum behind it. But basically, that person is saying that it's weird that, you know, people had access to Hunter Biden's laptop, blah, 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 whatever. And the laptop did circulate through weird ass hands to get to Fox News and New York Post in general. Is it a hard take to expect accountability on both sides? I mean, I am fully in favor of that. Make no mistake. I think Hunter Biden should serve the time for his crimes. Absolutely. And I do want that same level of care and consideration afforded to the Republican Party and their nepotism fail sons as well. There's plenty more Democrats out there that could get the smoke as well. The issue, on the other hand, is that this is simply a one-sided affair that the Republicans have greatly just tried to weaponize against Joe Biden, and they failed to do so. So it's just not really going anywhere.
Reasons. Fair to say that it was because of that we are where we are.
I mean, Dana, it certainly seems that way. Both the prosecution and Hunter Biden's team, you know, they walked into that courtroom today with a deal that they had signed and agreed upon. I mean, they shook hands in the courtroom at the start of the proceeding, and they actually signed the paperwork then. Now, it was the judge that was pushing and asking questions about it, And where that first hit the snag was about the scope of this tax agreement.
Exactly.
You know, Hunter Biden's team believed that it covered everything that the prosecutors were looking into, including foreign lobbying, including money laundering. And prosecutors said that wasn't the case. It was narrowed to just taxes, to gun, and to drug charges. In the live moments, though, Hunter Biden's team then said, okay, fine, we'll agree to that. And they were moving forward with what appeared to be the guilty plea, but then the diversion agreement on the gun possession hit a snag because the judge raised questions about whether it was constitutional. And that's when she said to both sides, you have 30 days to go back and try to work this out. And the big question has been, would they still agree to those?
What are the taxes charges? I think tax evasion. Isn't this just a fishing expedition? Of course it is. But there's two separate people here, okay? Throwing the book at Hunter Biden and putting him in jail permanently for the rest of his life doesn't mean anything if there is no connection to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, okay? Beyond just the fact that Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son, okay? That's the situation.